why hyperlocal is the ultimate strategy for a estate agency, especially if you're self-employed. Today, I'm joined by the wonderful Steph Walker, who is co-founder and co-boss of the Agency UK, and she's here to talk to me about why being hyperlocal is the ultimate strategy. Steph, talk to me.
Hyperlocal, I think, is the best business model that any estate agency could possibly have. I think that concentrating your business in a niche is important, but the vast majority of businesses will want to deal in all price points. So
when you're saying hyperlocal, you're also saying, like just 3-bedroom semis or upper quartile, or you're not just talking geography here, you're talking...
So I don't think that a estate agency is ready for that much of a niche. So the vast majority of businesses are going to want to travel all price points. And so the way to niche is to be super specific in terms of the location that you serve. Particularly for the self-employed or for the independent business owner, though, I see there's so much gravitas in doing business in a walkable distance from home. So not only can you leverage your time better, but if you're a self-employed individual, hopefully you're not in this for the volume game. You're in this to do complete low volume. You're doing quality. It's not about quantity. And so you're never going to be able to have the same boards breed boards than that of a traditional business. So you need your smaller containment of boards in a really, really refined geographical location.
I mean, how many thousands of households are we talking here?
I think there's a lot to be said about geography. There's a lot to be said about how people move in and around your area. I know that Chris Webb would say that 10,000 homes is probably a really good maximum. But I think, I look at my postcode, L39, we are a market town and a village. I believe somebody could operate just in my village doing...
I mean, just to give you an idea, if you want to know the number of households, because I'm a bit of a static geek, if you divide the population by 2 and a bit, that normally is the number of households. So if there's a town of 10,000, you would expect about 4,500 households.
There you go.
Okay. I actually 100%, 1,000,000% agree with you on this one. What I've noticed is that the bigger the patch, and I've got stats to back this up, but when I used to work for Belvoir, there were franchisees were wanting huge patches. Yep. Okay, and what we tended to find is that for lettings, the patch was, as the number of households grew, the number of income grew, but all of a sudden it got to quite an early point and then peaked and then dropped really down, classic bell curve. And the optimum size for a letting agency is 37,000.
There you go.
Households, which I think is is a town and the surrounding villages. For a estate agency, I believe you can actually make a business out of a large housing estate.
You absolutely can. I tend to do this exercise with people who are looking to launch their own self-employed business. If you've got available on Rightmove, take out your SSTCs, around 100 to 120 large stock, there's absolutely enough neighbourhood there for you to go after. And yeah, I mean, your perfect scenario would be to live on a housing estate that was built 3 years ago, and all of a sudden, there you go, you've got business at your fingertips.
It's interesting you say housing estate there, because again, I've done this analysis 2 or 3 times, and there is an absolute sweet spot in flats, more and more like 2-bed semis, 3-bedroom semi, smaller detached. There's a sweet spot where everyone seems to move after about 4 to 6 years, and a big chunk of people move at that time. So if you're an estate agent watching this and you're wondering where do I choose, then pick that.
What are the tips, Chris, would you have for estate agents?
Okay, so big housing estate that's big enough, so I do agree with you on that one. And if you haven't got one housing estate, pick 2 medium-sized ones.
Yeah.
Okay, that are big enough, that have they're big enough to have a Facebook page.
Yes.
Group.
Yeah,
okay?
Absolutely.
So that's a good indicator. So that's step one. And then step two, join all the local Facebook groups.
Absolutely.
Step three, go to the members of the Facebook group, and you can click on who the members are, and there'll be some where you have multiple mutual connections. So I would start sending connection requests to everyone who've got lots of mutual connections. What will then happen is they will connect up with you because you've got lots of mutual connections, and then the ones that only have one or two people with mutual connections, because those numbers will rise. So when you send a connection request to them in a couple of weeks' time, 10 mutual connections. Oh, I must know someone, and they connect. Okay. So social media is all about getting the right audience, and the only people that join the local Facebook group of that housing estate is people from the housing estate.
Absolutely.
What I would then do is, meanwhile, I'd be creating content on that housing estate. So I'd be getting home search, and I believe there's still the free version, and I'd be getting the countdown. I'll be getting the list that you get from home search on the district tab, on the average value of every house on every street. And I would be filtering out the ones that are just in that housing estate. And let's say there's 30 streets. I'd be doing a weekly countdown of the 30 most expensive streets, starting at the cheapest, working up. Meanwhile, and this is going to blow your mind, I would be, every time a property comes on the market, I'd go and stand outside it with my mobile phone, and I would actually give a report on that property, and I would upload it. Now,
I like that.
Now, these are properties that are on the market with your competitors. So you would actually think of yourself as a BBC News reporter. Hi, it's Chris here. This property's just come on the market with Connells at 465. It's a 3-bedroom semi. It has a lounge, dining room, kitchen, double glazed and gas central heating. So again, doing the video, you do it in 3 sections. The intro. Hi, it's Chris, not Chris from TA UK or whatever. Hi, it's Chris. This property just come on the market with Connells for this. Then do a verbal walk round. And then at the end say, I love it because, and then just wax lyrical and then upload it to the Facebook group.
Now, I would love, so I do agree with you on that, and I would love to think that the estate agency population out there would be happy with people doing this. But I've got an example. Our good friend Dan Brownhill was doing his top 50 streets and mentioned a sold property, so even far away from it being on the market. And that local agent had a real huge problem with it.
But he didn't stop, he carried on. I mean, which is
Absolutely.
good. So doing the tops. So the magic thing there is as long as you mention the name of the agent, and you say, if you want to view this property, go back to Connells.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really, because their biggest fear is you're trying to nick the fee.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'd be doing is this. I would be doing the top 30 streets in the local Facebook group, but I wouldn't be doing the commentary on the properties. I'd be putting it into my group.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, because that's because the people from the groups will think you're the agent trying to sell it.
Yes.
So what you're doing is you are doing the top 30 countdown in the other person's group. You're sending connection requests. Meanwhile, you're building up content here that no one is seeing. It doesn't matter. You're building up a library. Once you've got these friends connecting up with you, then you can send connection requests to the group, saying there's another group on your housing estate here. Who's the only people that's going to join that group? People who are in the other group.
Absolutely.
Okay, and you're the person who's commenting. You still put the top 30 streets in your own local group because you're doing it in their group, but you're putting the commentary stuff. Now, if you've got something that's a bit overvalued, you don't criticise, but you say the property's on the market for 475, which I think is at the upper end of the range. I've looked at the photographs, I've looked at the square footage. I think it's just towards the top end of the range. I can't see why it's that. I might be missing something, but you're putting a seed of doubt.
Yeah.
What I would then be doing is in 3 months' time, I'd be putting a leaflet through every single person's door saying, did you realise there's a new Facebook group on your housing estate? Meanwhile, there's this group. It's got all your top 30 streets. They've been watching it in your group here. There's your top 30 streets. There's all your commentary on all the properties. Absolutely. If you were really smart, then you would start putting leaflets through the door. So you do a video and then you put a leaflet through the door saying, your property is currently in my Facebook group. You might want to go and watch it. You're not asking permission, you're telling them.
And people can rinse and repeat this in a nice village, a small town location. But I think the premise is all you're talking about is being that local hero,
Yes.
being the person with the most amount of information on the property market, whether it's a home that you're
Doesn't
listed
matter.
or not.
Doesn't matter. Next door, repeat the whole process. There's no groups, but you can do. I don't know if you know the website Next Door.
Yeah.
You can do exactly the same there. The magic thing is, Steph, and I know I'm teaching radio so cakes, but the purpose of these videos is to help the
100%.
ladies and gentlemen out there in estate agency land. Is this: you need to get people's eyeballs and attention. Only then will they get to know, like, and trust you.
Yeah.
And people only do business with people they trust. The job of social media is not to get you the listing; it's to get people to trust you.
100%.
So that's what I would be doing. Do you have it? Let's throw it back. Do you have any other tips yourself?
So specifically for the self-employed, and if I was going to go and launch my business today, the first thing that I would do, alongside starting to build my social media presence, is just go and introduce myself to people. Now, a lot of people are scared about door knocking, and I know you've got the fantastic frozen pea method, which is great. But I also think there is a lot of merit in going along, knocking on and saying, hi, I'm Steph, been an estate agent for many years. I've just launched my business. I live right here in Town Green. Here's my business card. It's dead expensive. Please don't throw it away. But if you've ever got any property related questions, give me a call.
Or if you know someone who's thinking of moving,
There is that. Yeah.
that's a classic one. The other one is this: is you could create it on Canva. You can make professional looking newsletters.
Some people can.
Well, there's templates and there's Etsy and things like that. But create a template about that local property market on the housing estate.
I use a really, oh God, the website's been around for donkey's years, home.co.uk. So if you haven't quite got any of the money to buy your 20 EA and all those bits and bobs, home.co.uk is going to give you up-to-date stats on what's going on. All you need to do is pop that on a story, do a little video about it. You know, you haven't got to reinvent the wheel. And you'll already be doing much more.
Much more. Yeah, and the Dan Brownhill is doing the top 30, top 50 streets. He's about to get to number 1.
Yeah.
But I just want to let you know, we've already got the next top 50 he's doing in the same area on a different metric.
Love it.
There you go. So
But how brilliant he is now. Although he's been an agent in his town for many, many years, he's only really now becoming the face of being the business. He's been stopped in the pharmacy, he's been stopped at the newsagents. People go, Dan, we love your street. What street's next?
What street's next? People love a countdown. That's why. So therefore, if anyone wants to know how to do a countdown video or anything, just send me a text message with the word free stuff. I'll give you the number 07950 147572. Text me the word free stuff and I'll give you loads, over 50 videos, of which some of it is how to do the top 30, top 50 countdown. And don't do top 20, do top 50, do top 100. The art is not to get to number 1. The art is the process of getting to number 1. Yeah.
And top 50, there's a year's worth of content.
Years worth of content. And if you're in a big enough town, go for top 100.
Yeah. Yeah. That might not be hyper-local though.
Yeah, in a town, just to give you an idea, if you want to know roughly the number of streets in a town, you divide the population, so Grantham has a population of 40,000, so therefore it has a number of houses about around 21,000, and I believe there's 350, 400 houses, so that's you know me, I'm a bit geeky on my numbers.
Love it.
There you go. I hope that's been useful to you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Steph, for coming onto the Watkin sofa. Text me if you want that free stuff, and thank you for your insight today. Thank you.